Oh, there he is.
What do you say, Ron?
There's that fucking guy.
There he is. It's Metal Wolves. It's Ron. It's Karl, man. Big bro hugs, guys. How you doing?
Oh, how the fuck are you, brother?
I am super well, man. How about you guys?
Good to see you. We're good, man.
So let's see. I was just telling Karl last time we saw each other. It was Reggie's June of 2023 at the Legion of Doom Fest.
Absolutely. It got into a mayhem kind of an evening. Just got. I never saw you again. You must have been out there having so much fun. It's like by the end of the show, I missed you.
You know, it's funny. I met a listener, Sam Bean, a guy, and we ended up going to the small bar on the other side, and they had this AC/DC tribute thing going on there.
Actually, yeah, that bar is really cool. I usually try to hang on that side as much as possible. Good food, and then you could talk and shit.
Yeah, exactly. So it's good. So I was going to ask you guys. I mean, of course, we're going to get into the whole new album and everything, but for our listeners, like, take us back. Like, what's been going on for the last year aside from recording the album? Like, how much touring did you guys do aside from the Reggie show?
We went to Europe actually with this. We got invited because after we did the show that you saw, I think was that the Eric Memorial Show? Was that the last show?
It was the one at Reggie's.
Yeah, they wanted to do that in Europe, so we booked a few shows after that, and the last one we played Hammer of Doom, and Scotty flew out for that show. So we had Karl and Scotty, and that was like pretty much the last bit of the Memorial stuff, and that's when Legion of Doom kind of really became reality. You know, because Scott did a couple songs and Karl did a couple songs. We're like, this is a cool formula. Let's do this, man. You know, so then we came back to Europe the next year and played Hellfest and Graspop and a few other shows. So that's pretty much all we've done so far. But now we're booking more.
Yeah, we've done a couple other things too here and there. We've done just a couple pickup gigs here. I remember we did what did we do? We did Kentucky, and we did.
That's actually a skull gig.
It was. You're right. Yeah.
Because I try to remember like the Legion of Doom ones. It's like kind of they blend in because it is similar. It's the same band but different.
I was gonna say that's a little. It's not confusing to me, but how do you differentiate Legion of Doom versus the Skull? Is the Skull you just play Skull material, or is it like a combination of the same kind of thing, a little bit of everybody's repertoire?
The Skull is supposed to be like 90% all Skull songs and some Trouble thrown in. But usually when we play other places we haven't played yet, we throw in a few of the other songs just to do it, just to give them a taste of Legion of Doom. So it's like we kind of don't play by the rules, I guess.
Yeah.
Now we got Legion of Doom going. We don't have to do that. So whatever the Skull plays, it'll be a majority of Skull stuff. And now with Legions, we do the COC and Novitus and Trouble and Skull and whatever else we can think of.
Yeah, I'll tell you, man. I mean, going back to that Reggie show, it was such a great Saturday because you had Witchlayer on, your local buddies from Chicago. Oh, yeah. That was their first show. I think maybe they did one or two shows in Europe, and that was it. They were great. And then you had Spread Eagle that followed. I think it was those guys. And it was you guys and then Metal Church. It was like, it was one crazy evening, man. And
Metal Church was so good that night. They were so good.
Yeah, that was a really, really cool evening. Unfortunately, I closed the bar out and I had to get up and work the trade show at the big exposition center with the company I was with at the time. I had to be there.
Oh, that's right. That's why you were in town, right? Oh, man.
Yeah, I had my suit jacket on, and I was down at breakfast at 7:30 in the morning. Ooh. And it was my birthday on top of it. So, it was cool, man. It was cool.
It was a good night. It was a really good night.
It was great. That was like one of those memorable nights for me. I got the poster hanging right up in my home office. You guys signed it all, and the other bands too. It was one of those ones I'll never forget. So moving forward to 2024 now. So again, you guys are dropping, let's call it the Legion of Doom debut album, titled The Skull 3. It comes out September 13th on TP Records. So
Friday the 13th.
Oh, is it a Friday as well?
Yep.
Excellent. Excellent. I don't know if that was planned or just coincidental.
Oh,
but
it was. It was.
That's excellent. Well,
It might seem like accidental stuff, but I do a lot of shit on purpose. But that was because I'm a Templars fan, and that was when the Templars got their asses handed to them. And plus, the Sabbath's debut record was Friday the 13th as well.
I got married on Friday the 13th, so we're still going strong 21 years later. And I remember it was an old Italian St. Anthony's Day or something like that. So it was like all my old relatives, my dad and my aunts, they always said, "Listen, this is a good luck day." And I'm a Miami Dolphin fan, so number 13, Dan Marino.
There you go. Perfect.
So, guys, the backstory of this is just incredible, and I want you guys to tell the story. But bring us through this process, because as we understand it, Lothar and you, Ron, you started writing the album years ago with Eric, and then I guess it was stored on his computer, and then the rest is history. You go and find this material. Take us through the process, and then also take us to the family, like Eric's family. How were they feeling about you guys picking it up and crossing the finish line with it?
Lothar and I wrote, at least we had 6 songs for the new record, and Eric wrote lyrics for all 6 songs, but we never really got a chance to demo them, and we wrote the last song, and Eric's like, "I'm going to work on my solo record. We'll get to that when we get back from the tour. I'm going to get my solo record out. We'll do that tour. We'll come back, work on a new record." And that was the tour he died. So we never got to work on it. And we never got to do any demos or nothing on the song. So it's like after he died, I was done. I wanted to retire. I couldn't deal with it, But in the meantime, we came back to Chicago, and Eric was in Texas. But I had to return the van. It was Henry's van. And I talked to the family because they had his personal items, and they couldn't get to Texas to get it. They were, because they were going to cremate him with all the stuff. That's what they did with COVID at that time. With all your stuff that you went to the hospital with, they cremated all of it, which I think was bullshit. I think they stole a lot of items from people. But anyway, I agreed to go and get his personal items, which had the book that I thought all the lyrics are in. So I got his backpack, the book, his crosses, his cell phone, all that stuff. And it was just a book of lyrics for the songs we were doing on the tour. So I was constantly in contact with the family. I brought all that stuff back to them, got on the phone and asked them about the computer. And they said they don't know the passwords. They couldn't get in his phone or the computer. And I said, if you can, would you get me the lyrics so we could actually do a record, possibly? And they said they couldn't get it in the computer, so I just kind of shelved it. I wasn't going to do it, And then when Eric's manager was going to put together a memorial show at Reggie's, the first one, and they were hanging a banner of Wagner, and he wanted me to pick some songs or pick some bands, and I'm like, I think we should play. So the first person I called was Karl. I'm like, you'd be interested in jamming with us? So that it got him on board, and okay, we're going to do these memorial shows. But the record came later. Like the family came to the memorial shows, and it was very touching, and we talked, and he's like, I think I might be able to get it into the computer. I said, if you can, would you mind giving me the lyrics, and would you mind us doing the record? And he's like, no, they were completely supportive of it. So when they finally able to get it in the computer, there was a file that said Skull 3. It had all the lyrics for the record. So I'm like, okay, we could actually do this. So they sent it to me, and then we started working on the record. We had to, I had to attach the words to the songs because there was extra lyrics here and not enough here. So I kind of made it work with all the 6 songs. And we agreed to do the song Heaven that he recorded for his demo. And then the last song we wrote, Lothar and Henry wrote the music to it, and I used all of his lyrics for the songs. And the last song we wrote, I fitted it with the rest of the lyrics I had. So I had to write the lyrics for the last song, Lost Soul. So that's pretty much how we got to it, man.
Wow, that's what a journey to get there. Now, from the time I saw you guys last, that was again about a year ago, Reggie's. Did this all transpire after that time frame, or was it kind of all, or iterative process.
I'm not sure anymore. I've been trying because I've been asked that a bunch of times in the last. We've been doing interviews, and I'm trying to remember when exactly I got the lyrics because that was the big thing everybody's asking me about. I'm like, I can't remember. I'm like, kind of thinking we had to start working on the record before I got the lyrics, and then because I had to get talked into doing it because I wasn't going to do the record, so it had to have been probably within the last year.
It was just from my perspective, it was just over a year ago, maybe like 14 months ago. It started kicking in, something like that. It was just floating there, and then started taking shape with me flying out to do some demo stuff in Chicago about a year ago. And then, all that whole thing you're talking about, Ron. So yeah, it's been about a year and change,
About a year and a half ago, I must have got the lyrics.
Yeah.
Read them and like tried to start putting them to songs and try to figure out who I wanted to sing, on what. And then it's like we just started with Karl with 2 songs. I'm like, let's just what happens, start demoing.
So did you guys have
melodies no melodies or nothing? So I let Karl and Scott come up with their own melodies, and they made it their own, man.
Yeah,
their interpretation. So it really came out good.
Did you have any of when you say demo, did you have some of the music written at the time of demoing, or did you have to curious, like how much new contributions did you have to add? Obviously now the melodies and some of the singing, but did you actually have some of the actual songs written as well?
We had 7 of them.
Okay.
We just wrote one song at the end. That's the one, Lost Soul. That's why we didn't have any lyrics for it, because it was a brand new song that Lothar came up with and Henry came up. So that's like the first Legions of Doom song. And like I said, I wrote the lyrics to 95% of it. I had a couple straggling lines left from Eric's stuff, and I put in there just to flavor it a little bit. But that one is mine.
Yeah, I want to go through the songs because I think, again, I've listened to the album 4 or 5 times in the last week. I actually was driving our press publicist, Liz, crazy because I forgot to download the material. And I said, Liz, you got to send me the link again. I forgot to download it. I used up all my free passes. She says, don't worry, Walt, I'll get it to you right away. But
Liz rules.
She's great, Liz. She is the best.
She is the best. She's awesome.
She's such a, and it's funny. I just ran into her in Boston. John and I were up at Gillette Stadium for the Metallica weekend, the first weekend in August. It's just by chance I changed jobs, and I was in Boston that week for work anyway. And because we now have an in with Metallica, because we interviewed Kirk Hammett last fall, we're kind of like permanent friends and family guest list. And sure enough, we saw Liz and her husband there, just like we did last year in New Jersey. So it was always good to give her a big hug and kiss. Like, she's the best. But before we get into the songs, guys, the one thing I think is really cool when you look at the album art, and I like the comments that you kind of say, hey, it's sort of like the image is like a rebirth of, kind of closing out one chapter of the skull and then kind of reintroducing Legion of Doom as the pathway forward. So talk about the album cover, because it's cool, because it's kind of has, a skull, and then you got these butterflies and flowers like it's blooming out of it to show there's growth there for the future. So take us through what you guys were imagining in these renderings.
It's like the artist is David DeAndrea. He's done stuff for High and Fire, Sleep, a lot of the stoner doomer, stoner desert bands. A West Coast guy, and very famous. And his stuff, art shows, people buy this all the time. And he had a painting he did. I loved it. I wanted to use it, and I saw him at an art show, and I go, I want that for an album cover, and he's like going, somebody already used that. You can't have it. So I said, make something similar but different. And I explained to him the situation with what we're doing with the skull going into Legion of Doom. And he actually came up with the logo as well in the meantime, but then he came up, that was his first crack at it. I was just like, it was perfect. It was done. I'm like, dude, he said, so, is this close? I'm like, close, dude, man. Yeah, it's he imagined it perfectly just by talking with me for like 15 minutes about what we were doing. And it's all him. He's just that good of an artist. He just knew what to do with it. And
Got the artwork for the singles, right? So you got All Good Things and A Voice of Reason. I like the artwork for those as well because it's kind of like the Reaper at the graveyard, Darkness Falling. Did he do those as well?
no, that's a different guy. I think he's from Europe. He just has a site on Instagram. He just does crazy paintings and sells them to bands. And Henry found him. He said, "Hey, talk to this guy. See what he has." And I bought a couple paintings from him, and that was one. And I said, "Can you change it around a little bit for me?" He's like, was happy as hell. And yeah, he just a random dude online. Dreamscapes, I think his
Okay.
name is on Instagram. He's fucking very talented. But yeah, it's just I've never met him. I got to find out where he is so I can send him a record or two.
Yeah,
But
the color and the imagery is really cool on those.
that's him. The only thing I had him make the guy purple, where he had him a different color. I think I don't know what it was, but I had him change some things. He had a circle on it. I just kind of had him edit it a little bit. And yeah, he was more than happy to do it. But I got to find out, like I said, where the hell he's at. He's somewhere over in Europe.
So, guys, getting into the songs themselves, I want to cover off on them. But, Karl, for you, and going back to the point is, I mean, you're taking a good brunt of the workload on this album vocally. So how did you guys decide to divide and conquer and who gets what on this versus Scotty? Because you guys have different voices, different delivery of the songs. Both are great. And I think it's like two for the price of one is awesome as a fan.
Ron, I wouldn't want to speak for Ron, but Ron basically just said, I think this is for you. And I think this is for him. And, he just kind of just doled it out based on his gut feeling, his instincts, knowing both of us very, very well and for a long time. And I guess he just had a feeling of what was going to work for which guy. And I feel really comfortable with the ones I was giving. Obviously, it was somewhat daunting to take these words written by the late, great, super talented and Eric. And I got, I had the freedom to take his words and bring my own vocal melodies and my own delivery to the thing. So it was pretty great, a pretty great task. And so much of it, I'll just say this, that you can sense that Eric's speaking from beyond the grave somehow. He's got this almost prescience, like he can see, like he knows that there's a change coming. And if you actually parse the lyrics and start breaking them down and looking at them line by line, it's him vocalizing from beyond the grave. And I just get to be a conduit, and so does Scott Rieger. So it sounds a little weird and but I really feel that way. And I really didn't have to change much of what he had written. I just kind of had to make it my own and deliver it and find a melody that was worthy of the kick-ass songs the guys have written. I think
it was when I was matching the words to the music, because I had to work on one song at a time, and it's just kind of like it's whoever voice appeared in my head, either Scotty's or Karl. I think that's just how I picked it. Just seems like just knowing both their styles. It's like this seems like a Scotty song, and this seems like a Karl song. So it was came pretty easily, actually. So if you hear the results, it's like, yeah, that's definitely the right guy, right songs.
Ron and I were talking the other day, and basically I said, I'm hope and Rieger's is despair.
Yeah.
Exactly. Hope and despair. 1-2 punch.
Great. Take us through some of the songs. I mean, I got my impressions. I mean, I think it's a stellar album. I mean, you open with a great track, Beyond the Shadows of a Doubt. I mean, this is one of those heavy, doomy, mid-paced tracks. It's got some faster segments. And then you go into track 2, All Good Things, which it's upbeat and accessible. It's kind of catchy. It's melodic. There's good guitar work there. So maybe, Karl, cover off on a little bit of the variety on some of these songs here.
Well, I mean, they were just basically put in my lap, and with the words. So was just, I guess, up to me to interpret them and make them kind of fly a little bit. Beyond the shadow of doubt, it's such a kind of a like I said, it comes in, the whole intro section sets you up, so by the time we got to the part where, hey, the verse kicked in, I had to sing, I was like, I better fucking bring it, because it's just, how am I supposed to follow that intro, and that's where I came at it from, that perspective of just open yourself up and tear into it and give it your, as much, power, and belt it out and make it count and live up to the insanity of the heaviness. And All Good Things was more emotive in the sense of speaking to the words, and more upbeat in that. And I wanted to create a hook there that would speak to that and to feel like it was about all good things, if that makes sense, to give it a more of a positive, hooky kind of vibe, not pop for, but still have some kind of refrain there that could draw you in, and kind of old school like that, the old school thing. And I don't know if that answers that question, but that's how I feel.
No, it's good, and I think the video on that song's cool too. I think that was the one that maybe has some of the footage from Reggie sprinkled in there, if I have it right. And then there's also, looks like you guys are just hanging in a room with some of your friends and family at the end. Like, what's going on there? Is it just you guys are hanging out and exactly what it was? You had your family there?
We had a photo shoot. No, we had a video shoot. And the guy who, Quentin, he used to engineer who mixes our records. It was St. Patty's Day. So I'm like, let's have a fucking party. Let's invite a bunch of friends and family, and we'll do this video shoot. We'll do the song a bunch of times, and then we'll eventually bring everybody in and have everybody around us like it's a little private party, And then like I said, we played Reggie's a few days later with Candlemass. We're like, this is perfect. We could, throw it all together. But the guy Vito, who filmed it, plays in November's Doom. So he had that kind of vision where he's like, I'm gonna make this like a very like family friendly video, where everybody was, having fun and everybody was drinking and eating corned beef. We had a blast, man. You could tell it was a good time.
Yeah. That's good. So you guys, I know Candlemass did a few dates around the country. They didn't come by me, so wow. So you guys warmed those guys up. I mean, man, what a double bill.
Yeah, we're friends with them. It's like they're like, yeah, you guys are playing with us. We're like, okay, no problem. And hey, we could film as well, and because Reggie's has that ability now where they film shows. So we got the footage, and we got to show the banner, Eric Wagner's banner. You can see when it shows up there. It's really cool. It covered everything in that video.
Wow, that's fantastic. That's great.
I mean, that's kind of a celebration of life video. Not to sound like a cheese ball, but that's how I feel. Like it's just upbeat and saying, hey, we got to carry on, right? And it's just I realize this is a doom band, right? But at the same time, it's okay to say, hey, that's some joy inserted in there, because I think it's relevant and it makes sense, in this moment.
There's Karl.
Say hi to Karl.
That's my girl. That's my girlfriend, Stinky B, right there. Hey, Stinky.
You can't see me behind me. I got my dog sitting here nagging me just the same. They want me to hold them.
Oh yeah, mine's right here. She's been. That's why I've been bobbing and weaving here. The door's been closed for a while. I got to open it, and she's in here, and she's like, "What in the hell are you doing? And why aren't you paying attention to me?" 100%.
Exactly. It's easy. You could tell our spouses and our kids to stay out of the room for interviews. But the dogs don't understand that quite the same.
When Penny shows up, I say, "Yes, mistress. Yes, mistress."
That's it. Oh, yeah. So on to the album. I mean, Lost Soul. So Ron, this is the one where you said you had to really pick up the lyric writing. I love this track because it's super doomy. Great bass work by you as well on here, and the delivery of the lyrics by Scott on this one, I think, is just totally killer. It's definitely a favorite of mine.
It's that's the last song written because Lothar had this cool riff, and I remember Henry had a couple riffs. I'm like, let's see, if we could put together a new song and do something different, and that's all came together pretty quick. But then the lyrics, it's like, oh, it's like, because I only had like a couple lines left over from Eric, and I'm like going, I better draw into because I've been writing lyrics my whole life as well, and I got stacks of them. I just never really used them, and this is two of the songs two of the things that I had special to the side is like, I'm gonna use this on a special song one day, and it worked out really good. And it's like, and I totally pictured it because just the despair and the hope in the song, the way it just turns out, like I just pictured Scotty doing it, and he did it in such a creepy way. He's got this creepy horror movie tone to his singing and style that helps me like pick as well with the lyrics, especially a voice of reason. He's saying that like Little Red Riding Hood, kind of the way his delivery for them type of songs. Where I prefer Karl to sing like the more rock and the more uplifting tunes.
I'm
Scotty.
There, yeah.
He's despair.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like that. Hope and despair. You're right. Scotty's more like, it's almost like he's acting, acting the songs out or something, right? It's like he's theatrical, like up on a stage, like a musical or something, like Phantom of the Opera or something like that. So
absolutely, yeah, he does. He does that delivery, which is very wow. I didn't even think about it like that, but you're right. Yeah.
How's he? How has he fit in with you guys in general? Has it been a good mix with you guys?
He's like the bit of normal that we need. He's a really normal, level-headed, easygoing guy, and it's just great having him around.
I tell you what, when there's a crisis or something weird's going on, Scotty walks in the room and he's just this calming presence. He's got this kind of thing that he just emits this vibe, and people relax. And he kind of cuts through the bullshit and is very direct and non-threatening. Yeah, it just pacifies the situation. It just levels the playing field.
Yeah, we were in Europe coming back from Hellfest. We were driving in France, and we had a blowout in our van. Right. And we had to get back to Amsterdam because we're all flying out of Amsterdam. And it's like we go to his tire shop and we needed 2 tires. And like, well, we only have one. It's going to take us a while to get another tire. We might not be able to do that today. We'll see what we can. We'll call other stores, and everybody's like freaking out. We're not going to make our flight. Everybody's like tripping out. Then Scotty was already gone. I don't know where he went. And all of a sudden, like, we're all panicking about making our flight and getting out of there, and also he has a bag with a baguette. It's like, hey,
a bottle of wine.
Let's have some wine and some cheese and some bread, and we're like, he's like, just relax, just have some wine and cheese. He's like Oddball and Kelly's Girls, it's just like, just chill. And also tire and everything ended up fine, and we all got to Amsterdam in plenty of time, and it was just sort of things like just comes out of the blue with the bag, like in a movie with the baguette out of there. It's like amazing.
The cheese and bread are good, I'm sure.
No, all of a sudden the storm clouds just lifted.
Yep, exactly.
Hey, I guess he's thinking, what's the worst case? You miss your flight, you get another hang with your brothers, you get to party a little bit more, chill. What's the big deal, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Need the right attitude.
That's it. So that's good stuff, man. Road Stories from Legion of Doom coming to you, a theater near you. So between Darkness and Dawn, Karl, I love this one because it's cool, doomy bass work, and then your vocals are showcased up front, and then it gets heavy, and then you kind of go into this chill mode, and you really see you in the forefront, and then it gets heavy again. Take us through this journey on this song.
Wow, this one was it was actually the first one that I actually came up with a vocal melody for when I heard the demoed version of this, and I just kind of shot from the hip immediately, and wanted to kind of kick back into an old school rock and roll vibe, kind of almost like a Ronnie Van Zant mode in the, you know, um, in the intro, just kind of tell the story, and then it let it build to more of a traditional uh, doom kind of vibe, and then back again. It's such an interesting song because it's a narrative, it's a story that's being told, and then there's this arc, and then it drops again, and then there's another arc, and then this huge buildup, so it's just, I felt like kind of just I kicked into the storytelling mode and try to keep it in line with the music. It's feels almost a bit rock opera esque, in that sense.
I think it's one of the best songs that Lothar and I ever wrote together. Absolutely, the way it came together.
So
Karl just made it into a masterpiece.
You know what was so cool too? We've talked about this before. Is the bass is actually this ukulele bass, and it's all based on a riff that Ron wrote on acoustic guitar, and couldn't be replicated on an electric bass, on a regular bass. And then when they went to do it, the Lothar had this ukulele bass, and Ron picked it up and recorded with that. And it just,
actually, that's from the demo that you sang on, that original demo. Because I recorded that on that ukulele bass, but when we went to record the new record, the ukulele bass fell apart. I couldn't. So we had to send it to the shop. So I didn't have anything to play it. I was going to play it on an acoustic guitar. So I played it at Sanford's on an acoustic guitar, but then I asked Lothar if you had the original demo, if you could send me that bass part, see if we could put it in and see if the timing is the same. And actually it worked. So that's actually from the demo. The original.
I just learned that today.
I wanted that ukulele so bad on there that I made it work.
That's awesome.
Breaking news as brought to you by Metal Mayhem ROC. Exclusive, never be heard before content delivered by Ron.
Absolutely, man.
So listen, if you guys don't have a couple of long, epic, 7-8 minute tracks, it's not synonymous. You got to have those, right? You can have the short, catchy ones, but you got to have some long ones, right? I mean, Insecticide, right? That's your quick in and out song, good guitar work. And then you get into Heaven. I mean, so talk about what we were talking about at the top of the hour, man. This one, the hair stood up on the back of my neck. I mean, I had read that there was this song called Heaven, and then you hear Eric, and it's like, is that really Eric? Because I don't know, man. It didn't sound like him initially, and then it almost sounds like a Led Zeppelin type song. But then it's the lyrics. That's that posthumous message, and it's again him delivering a message as he's exiting the human life and then entering the spiritual life. I mean, holy crap, man. That one gave me goosebumps.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's heavy. You go ahead, Karl.
No. I'm just saying, pretty much all of the lyrics have that, and it peaks with that when it's actually him singing them, and it's the mind blowing. Like he's calling. This is my fate, It's almost like he knew, but he didn't. I don't know. It's just he had this. He was seeing into the future somehow, and delivering that,
I know it's like his death and moving on. This song, like him saying goodbye, and the next song we did was like his wake and his funeral procession. That's how it worked out on the record. That's why I added like the organ and the bells and all that stuff on there, because to me it felt like, okay, now he's gone. We're gonna all go to his funeral together and write it out with this record. It's why we did it that way. And it to me, it's like every time I hear it, it's like makes me reminded me like I'm going to his funeral. That I got to do that. Because he was cremated and it was just boom. Never saw him. It just never got to say goodbye properly. So we did it with our music.
That's really incredible and touching stuff. My notes exactly had the same thing down there. We're talking about the track "Hallowed by All Means." It's almost like two tracks in one. You get this down-tuned, heavy, sludgy stuff, and then the lyric though that Scott delivers, and I wrote it down because I needed to repeat it to you guys. it's been such a long walk to hell. I want you to know all is well. It's like, holy effing crap. And then you got the church bells and the death march, the funeral march. And I don't know, is this the music, his dissension? I'm imagining this wagon either going into the gravesite or to
Exactly. That's
hell
what
or
I'm
up to
doing.
heavens. It just ended, and it was like, my mind was blown. I mean, unbelievable work and placement, you guys.
That's then we hit the mark. That's what we're feeling. So it's like organically came out that way. It was us saying goodbye to Eric in the only way we could, and we wanted everybody to go on the ride with us, to say goodbye to him.
Yeah.
We wanted to make everybody close their eyes and to do what you just did, vision that you're following the wagon into the graveyard. And that's what it's all about.
It's a difficult thing to say goodbye and to create a tribute, especially I can only imagine for Ron and Lothar, who were playing with him, and even Henry and stuff. And I came into it and was fortunate enough to be invited on stage to sing with him. Like, remember when Trouble was opening up for Danzig at the Rialto, and he said, "Hey, dude, come up here and sing Helter Skelter with me." You know what I mean? So, and I just coming across him over the years, and always respectful and remembered me, and just, this whole thing, it's a very difficult thing. Obviously, it's not taken lightly, and I don't think it could have been delivered better, honestly, than it has been. In terms of showing him the respect and carrying his words on and having them speak, and that's the thing. His words are eternal, right? His voice is here, shining through all this. And anytime you listen to either the Skull or Trouble or even this, he's still there. He's still here, amongst us. And that's all anybody can hope for, right? It's to kind of live forever through the music, and I think it does this.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. I had the privilege of also interviewing Wino for the Obsessed newest album, and got to meet him in Brooklyn a couple months ago. I know you guys were on the road with them when Eric took ill. It just it's like full circle to me. I was thinking about those shows and you guys getting off tour and that kind of thing. And anyway, it's just been a crazy period to be speaking to all you guys about this whole thing. But guys, excellent album. You do leave us with a cover song. I haven't heard it because I think it comes out only on vinyl, but one of my favorite bands of all time is Deep Purple. You're covering off of MMROC's Into the Fire. Mm-hmm. Why that song?
Jump in anytime, Ron. But so Ron, I think I got the year right, but he in 2009, I think it was, he came out to visit in North Carolina, and the goal was to get together with Reid Mullen, who is still kicking, and Reid and I had made amends, come together, and done COC blind stuff on and off over the years, and Ron came out, and we got together with Reid, and we're jamming, and two of the guys who were Leadfoot, Scott Little, who is now in Legions of Doom, mm-hmm. and our buddy T.R. Gwynn, who's in Leadfoot, and I've jammed with on and off over the years. And anyways, we all came together and we were just going through stuff and rocking, and said, hey, one of our old favorites that Reid and I had, and Ron jumped right in it. We all loved Into the Fire, off that album, MMROC. MMROC was my first favorite Deep Purple album. It's just, that song's a ripper. It's just badass. It's just stripped down, balls out, heavy rock and roll.
Yep.
And I'd always wanted to do it. And then when it came up as a possibility, we did it. And when we got together so many years later doing this thing, we're like, we should bring this back. This is one of our songs that we did, it's an old friend. And we said, why not? Yeah. So Ron said, this would make the perfect B-side. And I was like, yes, it would. Let's do it.
That's a good one. And Deep Purple, they're out there supporting their new album, and that song is back in their set list. They're actually playing by me on Saturday night, so I'll be going to check them out.
I heard that. Just insane that they're doing that. And I mean, Ian Gillan is God status right there. So Just the fact that he's still out there doing it in any capacity. That man has nothing to prove. The reason I even got into singing I remember my parents, when I was just a wee lad, and we had the German pressing of Jesus Christ Superstar. This is even before I was aware of Deep Purple. I was so young. And remember listening to that. I was like, who is this Jesus? Who's singing the part of Jesus? Like, I was like, oh, that's Ian Gillan. And then I was like, oh, he's in Deep Purple as I got older. Holy shit, and it's just always been one of my heroes. So I can't even come close to being in the same, ballpark as that guy. But I've always loved that song and always wanted to give it a try. So that's where that came from.
That's cool. That's cool. So now, you've got some tour dates coming up. So let's talk about these dates. There's a date by me, guys, and you know it damn well. I'm going to try to get out there and see you guys. It's a Thursday night. It's the Desert Fest pre-party. I'm going to come out and see you guys. We're going to have a couple beers. We're going to high five, and we're going to do it all over again. Fun.
Yeah,
absolutely. Talk about some of these tour dates coming up, and what's the show going to be like? And Reggie's the only you were able to play an hour. You can play a longer set. How much of this new material is going to be in there, and what kind of stuff is in store for the live show?
Well, the Desert Fest show we're headlining, so we should be able to play a lot. We practiced like an hour, 20-minute set, so it's a good combination of COC, Vitus, Trouble, The Skull, and I think we got like 4 new songs in there.
Mm-hmm. 2 and 2, yeah.
Yeah. So then the other shows, the next night in Boston, I'm not sure how long we're playing or in Raleigh, but I'm sure those are shorter, probably 45-minute sets. So
yeah, we're not last on the bill. We're like second to last on both, I think.
That's just a taste of what we're doing. The same thing with the Austin Ripple Fest the following week. So we're going to be back and doing the whole East Coast and all that, probably headlining. But the New York show should be special because it's going to be a nice long set with a lot of good songs. I mean, it's a Desert Fest special.
Yeah. Is that going to be the first?
We're rehearsing the night before too. We're actually flying into New York on 9/11, which is really weird. But
okay.
So we're gonna rehearse and do some drinking. Probably go to the Anchored Bar in Brooklyn afterwards.
Oh, are you rehearsing at the venue itself?
No, there's a rehearsal place right around the corner from the Anchored Bar, and then the venue is like a block from the Anchored Bar. So that we're gonna be in that neighborhood a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good stuff. Well, I hope to definitely get down here and see you guys on the 12th. But and then what's touring look like after that? Like, are you going to get back over to Europe at some point? Maybe do some more festivals, that kind of thing.
Booking agents the next 2 weeks to figure this out. We're trying to wait for the record to come out and all the splash. So we're starting to get the feelers out there now with all the publicity. I mean, Liz is getting the word out, and we got Richard Sky in Europe. So the word's out there. We've been doing interviews nonstop for the last 2 weeks. So it's gonna happen, and I'm sure we're gonna be playing Europe. I'm sure we're gonna be playing the States, and I mean, there might be a band also said, "Hey, we want you guys to support us for the whole tour." We never know. Right now, everything's on the table, so we're kind of just waiting to get the record out, and then we'll go from there. But I think we're gonna be playing a lot next year.
That's good. So again, guys, take us through the date. When does the album come out, and where can the listeners hear all about A Legion of Doom? Where can they buy the stuff? Where can they buy the music?
It comes out Friday the 13th, September 13th, worldwide on TP Records. You can go to TP website. They're the ones selling the stuff, and it should be in the record stores and in our website. No, we don't have a website yet. We will get it, but the Facebook and Instagram. Go to the Legions of Doom or the Skull and Legions of Doom. We got 2 on Facebook and 2 on Instagram. So keep everybody occupied. Follow us, and we'll let you know what the hell we're doing.
Yeah, we're not mega stars by any stretch. We're learning. We just got to find the right 11-year-old to take over, I guess. But
absolutely,
it's the right way to do it. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna do this Zoom thing.
Yeah, exactly. But no, at Legions of Doom Band and the Skull at the Skull USA at Instagram, and and on Facebook, there's the Skull and Legions of Doom, and also Legions of Doom on Facebook. So they're the two best ways to find out. Obviously, TP Records, any social media presence they have on their websites, just check them out. And things are obviously going to get start picking up speed, and we're going to expand our reach, and do a little bit better, I think, with all of that. Man.
Good. So listeners, don't forget to visit us at metalmayhemroc.com and sign up for our newsletter to stay updated on new podcast episode, YouTube videos, CD, and concert reviews. Also, join us on our live radio show on Metal Devastation Radio every Monday. And if you enjoyed our content, please subscribe to the podcast and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Guys, I really enjoyed this discussion again. I feel like we're old friends. We are friends.
We are friends.
Absolutely.
And we are going to hang. I'll make sure I get to New York City. Before I let you go, Karl, I had one more small question for you.
Oh.
You had this band and this album that came out that flew under the radar last year called Lie Heavy. And there was a fucking awesome, funny-ass video. You're playing tennis and all kinds of shit. What was going on with that one?
Okay, what's going on with that one is that was the first one, Burn to the Moon. It was the album's called Burn to the Moon, which is actually a tribute that I wrote to Reid Mullen when he died. Also, so that in keeping with this tribute kind of thing, we're remembering all our friends. But Lie Heavy by Lie Heavy, we decided, it was a really actually very serious song, kind of like lyrically. The content of the video has nothing to do with anything. The way it came to being was JD's brother, Kevin, decided to do a video, and he's a professional videographer. Has worked for like ESPN and CNN, and he's down in Charlotte and the NASCAR and all kinds of shit, and just a total professional. He said, "I'm going to do a video for you guys," and he storyboarded the thing with like Lego figures, and we're like, "What the fuck?" And we were like, "This is hysterical." So he came up with all these like scenarios, and we actually put us on location on a hockey rink. We shot a video of us like with a school, like in a school situation. We actually shot at Duke University with my wife playing the school teacher. We shot it at Graham's girlfriend's office and did this kind of office space check. And then in the backyard. So it was him deciding to take the piss out of it. My favorite part was when we went to this kind of pool country club tennis situation, and we show up, and there's literally like a swim meet going on with all these little kids, and we're showing up in our trunks, and just like the parents are like, "What in the fuck is going on?" I thought we were going to call the cops. And it was completely the reverse. We had the kids cheering us, all the moms and dads hanging out, walking up with beers and shit. This is awesome. So it was just all about this. He was just saying, "Don't take yourself so seriously." We're like, you know what? We're going to do the polar opposite of what this actual vibe of the song is, and just have a good time. And it really peaked for me. There's a scene where he makes his brother, JD, the drummer, look like he's eating glue in the classroom. And it was actually like white icing, but it looks like he's eating glue. And he just wanted to make his brother look like a dumbass. And he succeeded, So that's really what it was. It was just one big funny joke. Some people were like, "Whoa, what the fuck?" And I was like, life's too short. Have a good time,
Hey, man, it sounds like a great time, actually.
It was exhausting, but really fun. So, yeah. Like a bunch of location shit. It's crazy. So, yeah.
All right. Well, we diverted a little bit from that. So, again, guys, it's been my pleasure. Best of luck on the album and the promotional tour. We'll see you in a couple weeks in New York. Again, the album will be out. Legion of Doom, Skull 3, Friday, September the 13th on TP Records. So, for my guests, Karl, Agell, and Ron Holzner, this is Metal Walt from Metal Mayhem ROC.
Thank you so much, man.
Awesome, Walt. Peace and love, man. Cheers, dude.
Metal for life.
Thank you for listening to Metal Mayhem ROC. Check out our website at metalmayhemroc.com for information on podcasts, archives, links to all our live radio shows, and all sorts of info. Please like, follow, and share with everyone, even your non-metal friends. And always remember to keep it heavy.